Hey guys, what's up? I'm bringing you another story today. It's by The Hollywood Reporter, and this title is going to make you feel some type of way. The Rings of Power showrunners, Sauron will be like Walter White in Season 2. Oh, please stop. Stop. The Lord of the Rings series showrunners are interviewed about the finale's big Sauron reveal and what it means for next season. There may be viewers who are like, this is the story we were hoping to get in Season 1, yeah. In Season 2, we're giving it to them. Oh, this is just terrible. There may be viewers. They're not even sure themselves if there are viewers who like the story, and I can guarantee that there are not many who do. But let's read the story. The Rings of Power's biggest Season 1 secret is out. Sauron has been hiding in plain sight as... Yep, you guessed it, Halbrand, the Aragorn-like drifter who pretended, or at least allowed Galadriel to believe that he was a long-lost king of the Southlands. Yeah, allowed Galadriel to believe. She's just so smart. She's lived for thousands of years, but she couldn't figure out what most people who saw the first episode figured out at that point in time, that Halbrand was probably going to be Sauron. It was just coming off that way because the foreshadowing was so terribly written and obvious. Showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay gave The Hollywood Reporter some insight into the thought process of introducing the Dark Lord as a charming low man, and also teased what comes next for the character in Season 2. Man, I bet those showrunners were just thinking to themselves, they don't understand our brilliant master plan. Once we reveal to them that Halbrand was Sauron the whole time, it'll flip the whole show on its nose. It'll just give everyone a whole new perspective. We'll be hailed as geniuses. We'll be given the Pulitzer, if you can even get that kind of a prize. We'll get Oscars, Emmys. They don't even give Oscars out for TV shows like this, but that's okay. We could get one anyway. We're just that good. What's in the Lord of the Rings books is an all-encompassing evil that everyone is afraid of and is so powerful it doesn't even have to be manifested physically, McKay says. He's an image of an eye in Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings films. He's the eye on the tower. We felt Sauron should be a character in his own right. So that's what he's going off of? Is he not a character in his own right in the books? I don't understand. We wanted to study the currents running within him in a way that hopefully would reward audiences as they follow him moving forward as he becomes the Dark Lord. Yeah, except it wasn't an enjoyable experience, mostly because of Galadriel, but you know, Halbrand wasn't that fun. You now know him as a person outside the name Sauron, yeah, because you just gave him a name. In some ways, we wanted to do an origin story for Sauron. Yeah, no kidding. We didn't want to make a show that was about the hunt for Sauron, but we love the idea of Sauron as a deceiver who could hopefully deceive some of the audience. They didn't fool anybody. Hopefully deceive, okay? Hopefully there's somebody watching who enjoys the plot. Hopefully some people were deceived into thinking that Halbrand was a good guy. Well, no one was, because you thought that you were writing some crazily intellectual, high-budget, thought-provoking epic. You made the complete opposite. Adds Payne, there's something that Milton does in Paradise Lost that we talked about a lot, where he makes Satan a really compelling character. In some ways, he's the first anti-hero where he's compelling and you can't take your eyes off of him. Milton did that on purpose because he wants you to follow along with Adam and Eve. He wants Satan to be so persuasive that he also seduces the reader and you're unconsciously won over, so that you perceive your own fallenness and your need for redemption. Wow, he's so just in his head. His ego is huge. Okay, J.D. Payne's ego is just gigantic. He really thinks he's that good. I'm not sure what he meant by unconsciously. Everybody's been talking about Halbrand being Sauron for like over a month. For months now. I think people predicted that he was going to be Sauron based on just the first set photo of him. People just were like, hey, I bet that guy's going to be Sauron. You know, people just guessed it right away. It was a very obvious thing. It just further reinforces the idea that they're not paying attention. They're not following the lore at all. It's absurd. Continues Payne, in Tolkien, Sauron is a deceiver, and we know that in Second Age he appears in fair form. So what if he sneaks up on you and is able to get you to sympathize with him, and you get to be on board with him, and so that you actually realize who he is, just waving his arms at the person he's pitching to, that he's already got his hooks in you? Yeah. So it's not just as easy as, oh, this person is evil, I'm going to back away because you've already formed some level of attachment to him. What if we could get the audience to go through a similar journey? What if? I bet that would be an amazing journey. You let me know when something like that is actually done well is made, and then we'll talk. Many online had guessed Halbrand was Sauron along the way, which showrunners note is just fine with them. The goal wasn't to fool everybody with the twist that feels totally out of the blue. I thought that wasn't you? Didn't you just say that was the goal? You wanted to fool people? He's saying, well, we wanted to fool people, but we didn't really want to fool people. I mean, we kind of want to fool them, but you know, we're on that line and we don't really want to fool them, but we kind of do. You know what I'm saying? And the interview's just like slobbering at the mouth, not sure what to do. If you had a sneaking suspicion over the course of an entire season and then that suspicion is ultimately confirmed, then that's an emotional engagement. Payne says, tragedy is one of the highest art forms. There's a reason people are still putting on Romeo and Juliet hundreds of years after it was written. Even though you know what happens at the end, a surprise only rewards you on one viewing. Wow, now they're just comparing their trash show to Romeo and Juliet. I mean, this is just the most Shakespearean, most poetic show ever. It is worthy of being put in the Hall of Fame next to these classics. I hope after the last episode airs, viewers watch the whole season again, which is now a different experience. I convinced you, now it's a completely different show. We hope that as we get into season 2, it makes people like season 1 even better because you're seeing it through a new prism, a new focal point. Please watch the entire season again. Speaking of the next season of the Prime Video series, which has begun filming yet isn't expected until sometime in 2024, the producers hint Sauron will play a major role as he moves forward as an anti-hero in the model of some iconic TV characters. Sauron is not an anti-hero. He is the ultimate evil. He's not someone to be to relate to. He's not a character that is supposed to be understood, or he's a misunderstood character. He thinks what he's doing is right. No, he's evil. He's just evil. And yes, there is depth to him in the books, but and in the movies, you know, there's a looming presence. Even you feel the fear that Sauron emanates from his eye over in Mordor. But even in the books, Sauron has depth. He's just the ultimate evil, and there is a defining difference between him and the elves, and they're trying to blur that line in this show, and it's terrible what they're doing. This is awful. Season 1 opens with, who is Galadriel? Where did she come from? What did she suffer? Why is she driven, says Payne. We're doing the same thing with Sauron in season 2. We'll fill in all the missing pieces. He'll be just like Walter White. Sauron can now just be Sauron, McKay adds, like Tony Soprano or Walter White. Oh yeah, he's evil, but complexly evil. What? So Walter White, oh no. We felt like if we did that in season 1, he'd overshadow everything else. So the first season is like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight is the next. Oh wow, they're gonna just create the best show ever. It's gonna be just like The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. I mean, they really think, oh my word, okay. The Dark Knight is the next movie with Sauron maneuvering out in the open. We're really excited. Season 2 has a canonical story. Not like the first season, which didn't have a canonical story. This one, it's canon. There may well be viewers who are like, this is the story we were hoping to get in season 1. In season 2, we're giving it to them. Well, this show is doomed. I saw the finale. This whole article is BS. And I can only assume that they posted it last night, an hour and a half before the premiere of the finale, on purpose, because they need to align with Amazon's release and give them that big props, that thumbs up, and convince people to watch season 2. This is their crying plea, their death knell. And their death knell, they chose The Hollywood Reporter, who tripled down from my first video to defend the Rings of Power. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Like and share this video, subscribe, click that notification bell, and I will see you all next time.